there isn't much left of the railway. We were able to see from time to time some mementos of its former glory. But yeah, we're almost done. We're really close to Faringe now. And just like this, we made it to Faringe. It's pretty cool. It's the next Saturday and we're back at the crime scene at Rånäs. We just passed the railway station and we're continuing on the former Roslagen railway. Rånäs is just a small community. It has less than 500 people living here. And I think we could characterize Rånäs as an industrial town because there are famous ironworks, Rånäsbruk, quite close to here. And we found some aerial pictures from the 1950s. And on these pictures you can see that this area was quite significant for logging, that logs were, well, they've actually flown down on the lake that is here. And in Rånäs they were put on trains and transported somewhere else for further processing. Right until now this journey was a smooth sailing, and now we finally found some obstacle in the way. There's a collapsed bridge and we need to cross it. Luckily there's another bridge just 50 meters up ahead. But finding such residuals of the abandoned railway along the way is simply wonderful. With a small detour we found our way back onto the railway tracks and we're continuing onwards to Knutby, which is around 10 kilometers away, I think. There's another interesting milestone right ahead of us. We are just now crossing the border between the Stockholm County and Uppsala County. Yeah. So right about now we entered into Uppsala. The biggest disruptions in the railway we encountered so far. Part of it is just gone. There's this field, but as you can see behind us, there's clearly the path when the railway went, and here in front of us it again continues onwards to Knutby. And just like that we made it to Knutby. Knutby? Is it pronounced Knutby? No, it's Knutby. This is the old railway station in Knutby. Cool. Knutby entered the modern history of Sweden due to tragic events that happened in this village. I will not discuss it here because I don't think I would do it any justice. So if you're interested, you have to Google it for yourself. So we're continuing on, and this is actually where the fun begins, because now there's approximately 3 to 5 kilometers ahead of us with no road, just fields. Now the real adventure begins. The railway again totally disappeared for a little while, and now again we can see where it was, because there are mud roads on the exact same place where the railway was. So quite interesting, how the same path is still being used, although with other purposes. Since this railway was constructed at the end of the 19th century, it is quite possible that it influenced land ownership or land rights around it. So right now we're walking on the path of the railway, which now serves as a divider between two fields. Even though there's no railway anymore, the divider still remains. Which I think is sort of interesting, how things that no longer exist still influence life in this weird, small and quirky way. Right now it's definitely more confusing about where to go, which path to choose, because again there are no signs of where the railway actually was. So maybe there's one. Anyway, we have to figure out where to go next. This particular part of the railway was opened in 1884 and was closed in 1977. As I mentioned before, each section of the railway was owned by a private company, and after the Second World War they were all consolidated and nationalized into one state-owned company, the Stockholm-Roslagen Järnväg, the Stockholm-Roslagen Railway. Some more fence crossing behind us. Until now we've been very lucky that no farmers or no one else got mad because you're trespassing on their land. Another fence scale. We are 5 kilometers from Faringe, and I wanted to take some aerial shots of the area, but we were joined by eagles, by a whole family of eagles actually. 1 adult and 3 juvenile, and there are like 2 risks associated with that. They could either hunt down my drone, or second, I was a bit afraid that I might disturb the eagles, and I think they are most likely protected, so I waited for them to go away. After that, after I made sure that there are no eagles around, I took out my drone and made some pretty cool shots. Not to brag. Okay, this might actually be the coolest residuum of the railway we encountered so far. I mean, yeah, it's either a thrill or an Instagram opportunity, as always. Yeah, I really like this part. This is cool. Because the path is pretty clear, like it's really clear that this is where the railway was. But it's not cultivated, nothing, so you know, it's this tall grass and big trees, shrubs or whatever. This may actually be the last fence of the day and of the whole trip. Fixed it. Okay, this was really probably my favorite part. It was really awesome. But yeah, we're almost done. We're really close to Faringe now, as far as I know, and as far as the satellite pictures are telling me, it should be nothing but quite okay roads all the way to Faringe station. Wasn't that difficult as you thought it would be. And And just like this, we made it to Faringe. I can already see the still functioning tracks that lead all the way to Uppsala. It's pretty cool. I was planning this trip for so long, so it feels so good to finally be here. A railway that was not used for 40 years was once again connected. I mean, I don't really think that we were the first who had this idea, but still, I'm really proud of our achievement. Okay, and this is something I wasn't really sure, but I was really hoping that there will be trains outside here at the station. And there they are. I might be nerding out too much, but after researching this and walking the whole distance, kind of living with the railway for a bit, it's really an incredible feeling to be here. I'm really enjoying this. This is really cool. Although really nerdy, but So this part of the railway was saved and it's now, I think, as a heritage railway. It's called the Lenakata Railway, Lenakata Järnväg. During the summer season there are trains, scheduled trains that go all the way from here, from Faringe to Uppsala. So since this is now operated only during the summer, they no longer need these locomotives that clear the snow. So now I guess they're waiting here to be repaired. But they're amazing. Let's look at them. This was a great adventure, this was a great trip. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Some parts were a bit boring, but overall A+ adventure. The parts when we had to crawl through shrubs and jump over streams and hop over fences. And going into this, I didn't know what it will look like. The only source of information I had were Google Maps, the satellite images and some blog posts. So yeah, I think it turned out the best way it possibly could. So the adventure continues. There are no buses from Faringe to either Uppsala or Stockholm, so we have to walk to Almunge. Almunge? I don't know how to pronounce it. To catch a bus, which is another 6 or 7 kilometers. And even though it is not allowed, we're gonna walk on the tracks. The only other way would be to walk on the actual road. But there's traffic on the road, and there's absolutely zero traffic on the tracks. We will finish this journey on the tracks, because it is definitely safer. We deeply apologize for breaking the rules. Also at Faringe, we've met some of the people that are taking care of the Heritage Railway. They're all volunteers, they're just doing it for fun. As one of the guys characterized it, it's just boys and toys. Only the toys get bigger and more expensive.
This is the first gear. You can drive up to 20 kilometers an hour. Second, 35. 55 and then 85. But on the big railroad with the normal gauge, they have the 5th gear. That is 110 kilometers an hour.
So there's only one question remaining. Why? Why would anyone do this? So, especially now, when the world is facing a global pandemic, I think it is really good to find an adventure in your backyard. I mean, we barely left the greater Stockholm area, and it was a really, really amazing adventure. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love traveling to distant lands as much as the next guy, but I believe there is an added value if you don't have to travel far to do something cool. I mean, you might not consider this cool if you don't care about trains, but whatever. These are difficult times for all of us. I don't know when I'm going to upload the video, but I would bet that the pandemic is not over by then. But planning, researching, and then actually going on this trip kept me sane. As for us, well, we still have about 3 kilometers left to Almunge, and there we will somehow try to get back to Stockholm. And that will be the end of this amazing adventure. So we made it to Almunge. Yeah, that's it from us. See you in the next one, and go and look for your backyard adventure. Good luck.